All right, everyone. Well, I see it's 5:30 now. So just in the interest of time, I want to make sure everyone gets an opportunity to get questions answered this evening. So I guess we'll go ahead and begin. First, I just want to say good evening. My name is Shane Sterick. I work at Jefferson Middle School. So I'm an ESE self-contained student teacher for students, and so I might necessarily have the same students and backgrounds that your students are going to have, but still setting up a successful classroom, building and creating relationships is equally and as important in any classroom. So no matter what class you're in. So we're going to go ahead and begin today. I have tasks 6, 8, and 19 that I grade. So I guess just first and foremost, I just want to make sure doing the best thing for everyone here. I wanted to go through each of those tasks, but if you can just type in the chat box or just say, is anyone here for task 6 tonight? Didn't need clarification on task 6?
Haven't started it yet.
Oh, okay. And sorry. All right. Yeah, no problem. Okay, so I see a yes. What about task 8? Okay. Yes, again, and then
I was going to say, Shane, most of them haven't started yet. There's quite a few new people on here and some that have completed everything but the portfolio tasks.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Great. Well, I'll just go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and jump in. I just wanted to make sure if there was, everyone was in here for one specific task. I didn't want to go through some that we weren't really in need of, but we'll just go ahead and go through all of them. So first thing I really wanted to say too is just, we've got from 5:30, we're scheduled to 6:45. So I'm sure I'm not going to be able to answer everyone's question tonight. So I just want to, make sure that I put my information in the chat too. So my last name is Starrick, STARRAK, Shane at Brevard Schools. Okay. So I'm at Jefferson Middle School. So if anything you need to ask, I'm more than willing if we want to. I've done 6 and 8, need to do task 19. Okay. But I'd be more than willing to set up a Zoom meeting if you'd like to do that, or just talk through email or a phone call, whatever is going to be easiest for you. Okay. So I will go ahead and begin. I'm just going to start with task 6. So I'll go ahead and okay. Let's see, Ms. Stanley, could I have the screen sharing ability just so I can just show what we're looking at?
I just put on there that sharing was available for anyone. So does that work? I've not done this before.
Who's disabled participant screen sharing?
It says multiple participants can share simultaneously.
Okay, here we go. All right. Thank you very much. All right,
okay.
Now we're ready. Yeah, I just want to make sure we're looking here. So if I'm looking at task 6, okay. So task 6, we'll just go ahead and start with that. And this is differentiated instruction 1. Okay. So you're going to use this also to complete differentiated instruction number 2 and 3 as well. So differentiated instruction 3 is another one of mine. That's task 19. Okay. So there's lots of different resources here for this task. So if I go to my resource center, I have different surveys that I can choose from. You have to choose 2 surveys. You have to have one attitude or interest inventory, and then one student learning styles. Okay. Now, if I click on one of these surveys, some of them are going to be geared more towards elementary. Some are going to be geared more towards secondary. One thing that's nice is, you don't need to use exactly what this survey shows. If you want to edit some of the surveys to kind of tailor more towards your class, your discipline, then that is perfectly fine. Because if you're in a math class and it's and you're a lot of the questions are about what kind of books you like to read, that's good information, but it might not necessarily help you in your class. So trying to edit and make sure it's going to fit for you. You want to make sure it's information that you can use. Now, in this, it in the task, it talked about that you want to make sure, give this task at the beginning of the school year. Well, here we are, it's December 1st. So, I mean, my advice would be, I would want to give this maybe after the holidays. If I'm thinking just for a fresh start, if I'm a elementary school teacher, maybe I want to do this January 4th when we come back. Or if I'm secondary teacher, maybe I want to give this survey when the second semester starts. But if you're feeling like you want to get started, get going, then go ahead and give these. But my suggestion would just be, you want to have one survey you're giving on one day and then one survey you're giving on another day, just 2 back-to-back days, so that you're getting those finished as quickly as you possibly can. And you might have a hard time getting, I know at our school, the e-learners getting materials turned in, things like that. It's, not always easy. So just try to get as many students as you can to answer these surveys, because the more information you get, then the better you're going to be able to complete task 6. Because when you're having to go through the information and 80% of my students learn best this way, 50% of my students said this. If you've got a small subset, if you only have 5 students that took your survey out of 20, you're going to not have as much information to go on as if you try to get as many students as possible. And again, you're not going to necessarily get all of them to complete it. Something may come up, but the more students that can complete that, the better your data is going to be. Okay. So you want to make sure you document that data and the implications of the data. So that's the second part of task 6. So you give the survey. Okay, you give it to your e-learners, give it to your in-person learners. Then you're going to take that data from your 2 surveys, and you want to make sure you're going to summarize that data for each question. Now, I've had some people who, when I'm grading task 6, they go question to question. So if they've got 20 questions on the survey, they're giving me a breakdown of every single question that's going through. You don't need to do that. Just, I would say, go through what are the things that stand out to you the most. If there are a large number of students that learn a certain way and you didn't think that they learned that way, then that's going to be some really important information for you, that, okay, I'm going to tailor my lessons to help how they're learning best moving forward. Okay. So just, again, choose a few points that really stand out for you. Okay. So again, giving the 2 surveys, making sure that they're tailored to your students' levels, whether it's early elementary or it's high school. You want to make sure that it's going to be information that you're going to be able to use. And then you're going to take that information, you got to summarize it for both surveys. So I don't want you going point by point, because if you've got a long survey, that's going to take a very long time. So just 4 or 5 questions that really stood out to you and maybe made you think, I might want to change something that I'm doing in the classroom. Okay. And then finally, you have some questions that you have to answer. How do you respect cultural background, maintain a climate of openness, relate the lessons to their life experience? So just thinking about different things that you do in the classroom to foster some diversity, are you using restorative circles, having some sort of debates, show and tell, open-ended projects, anything that's having those differentiated learning styles used in your teaching. So that's where you're gonna talk about different things that you use within the classroom. And all these items, are meant to get you thinking, okay, how am I making sure that I'm to the best of my ability teaching the way these students are going to learn best way they can. So for task 6, you've got to submit the task cover sheet that gives some of those class demographics. And again, that's important too, for you to be thinking about, you see your students in front of you each day, but maybe having that written down, looking at, okay, there's this many students of this gender or age or race, socioeconomic status, and maybe starts making you think, okay, am I giving them the help that they need in the way that they're going to learn the best way possible. Okay, so that's task 6. Okay, I'm going to go over tasks 8 and 19, and then we'll kind of open it up for some questions too. Hopefully, as I'm going through, is answering some questions. Okay, all right. So now we'll go back to task 8. Okay, so collaborating for student achievement is your next one for task 8. So so you're required to observe or participate in a school improvement committee or working with your department or grade level. So this, if you have department meetings or a grade level meeting, those are what you're going to be doing for task 8. So if you're part of the school improvement plan, student advisory or school advisory council, safety committee, etc. Okay. What you're going to be doing in this task is identifying improvements or a priority area that we're trying to improve something within the school, document your participation, and talk about how you were involved, what you did in those meetings. So this will take place over, can be, several meetings. It might be several months. If you have a department that, you only meet once a month, or I know at my school, we've got an ESE department meeting. So that's once a month. And then I'm also part of they call it Team Columbia, where it's like different, each of our, the whole school is divided into different Ivy League schools. And so I'm with a PE teacher and a math teacher and a social studies teacher. So it's, that one's a little bit different, and that's kind of across different disciplines within the school. So you might be on several teams as well. So so it's going to take place over several weeks, several months, depending on the number of meetings the group calls. And what you need to do is you're going to fill out the summary of the meeting, okay, and reflection questions. So what I've noticed in task 8, when I'm grading it, a lot of people, they'll turn in 3 to 5 meetings. And honestly, I'm okay with that because there's really no specification within task 8 about how many meetings you need to be attending. But I think that's fine, because what you need to be showing is that the meetings are occurring, that there is some sort of need or some sort of problem, whether it's, okay, these students, their iReady score is at this low level. How are we going to get their grades up? Or it could be something supervision wise. Okay, in the morning, this is, we're noticing this is happening. There's some students that are fooling around. How are we going to address that, change who we have out? You can, there's several ways you can go with this. It can be from an academic standpoint, disciplinary, something that is improving, is going to improve the school. Okay. So, and you want to show how your team is building from meeting to meeting. So, all right, in meeting 1, we identified this problem. So if we don't meet till next month, how how is how are what we're doing, the intervention we're using, how has it changed? What kind of outcomes are we seeing? So we're going to hope that from meeting to meeting, there's some positive things happening within your school because you're getting together, you're talking, everyone's putting their heads together, and they're coming up with solutions that are helping the students in the school. Okay, and you want to include some data, whether if it's test scores or it's disciplinary referrals. Are those test scores going up? Are those disciplinary referrals going down? So what's being collected to determine how successful this change is, whatever it is, if it's a walk to intervention, something about supervision, iReady data, some sort of math or civics online data, whatever your class may be. Okay, so part one, you have the summary of the meeting. Okay, so you're going to find a group that works on improving some aspect of student achievement, curriculum, school improvement, etc. Analyze the data, review all that data based on best practices to determine how we're going to be able to improve student outcomes. And then that problem solving, working together with your team, building on data from one meeting to the next. Okay, so if you're not already in some sort of group like this, having a team meeting or a department meeting, might want to talk to a mentor teacher in your school or administration, department chair, for them to suggest a group. Then you want to summarize all the meetings you attend, and you gotta need to include the date and time of the meeting, the main points that are discussed for each meeting, and some sort of description of student data that was reviewed. Whether is it disciplinary, is it academic? What is the data you're looking at? And from meeting to meeting, what was the intervention, and is it changing for the better? And we're going to hope that it's changing for the better. Now, part two, you have some reflection questions for this. You want to provide full answers to each question, and they are questions such as, what positive impact do you think the group's decision will have on student achievement? Did you have a significant role? And what challenges came up for the group? And then finally, what impacts will the decisions have on your own instruction? So, you're attending 3 to 5 meetings, and then you're reflecting on how you think, how impactful were those interventions, whatever it may be that you were doing in your school. So what to submit? Again, you need to have that task cover sheet, gives that demographic information we were talking about from task 6. Same thing. You need to have the meeting summary worksheet and those reflection questions. All right, so that is task 8. Okay, and then I'll go ahead on to the last one for tonight before I turn it over for general questions and hopefully get some more specific things for you. Oh, shoot, here. So differentiated instruction 3, task 19. So again, you've differentiated instruction 1. That's going to be task 6. So after you do differentiated instruction 2, now you're going to go on to differentiated instruction 3. So in differentiated instruction 2, you're looking at 2 specific students that you have chosen to work with. Now, task 19 is a little bit different because you're going to be working with a whole class. Okay, so you want to make sure this will focus on you differentiate instruction to meet the needs of your students and increase your students' achievement. Okay, so you will need to complete. You've got an observation consultation worksheet. You have lesson plans, and then the differentiated instruction 3 observation form. Okay, so those are all under the resources for task 19. Okay, So you are going to, first, you got to select a lesson for your observation. Okay. Select something that is going to have a lot of differentiation in both your instruction and the assessment for the students. Okay. And you are going to want to build on differentiated instruction 1 and 2 to come up to this third task, to help craft this third task. So you want to meet with your mentor teacher or your colleague, or if it's an administrator, whoever's going to be observing you. Okay. You need to conduct the pre-conference task. Okay. And make sure all of the sections of the observation consultation worksheet you want to make sure those are complete before you start your observation. And you might change some things when you're talking to your observer. Okay. You know, you got to tell them what it is you want them to look for. What is, this is an area that I need some help in, or, hey, can you just see how I do with this? I'm really kind of wanting to try this new strategy out. Okay. So yeah, you complete the lesson with your observer, and your observer is going to have a checklist that they're going to be completing. It's got 14, I think, dimensions, whether it's being demonstrated or not demonstrated, and they're going to write a comment for you. Okay. And then after you have that observation, then you're going to meet again to complete section 2 of your observation consultation worksheet. Okay. So talking about we're going to go back a little bit, the lesson plan. You want to make sure you complete all areas of the lesson plan template. You want to note any changes that you made because of the pre-observation consultation, or because of the data that you collected during your lesson. So maybe you might change something up in your lesson plan and say, this might work a little bit better. Because sometimes we think we got the best laid plans, and then and then the lesson starts and things change for a whole variety of reasons. So you want to make sure you kind of changing things, make sure it works, for future use, right? Okay. And then, so afterwards, you've got your differentiated instruction 3 observation form. So you review it during the pre-observation consultation. Then you're going to review it again with the post-observation consultation. The mentor will then complete, and then the other form, as I was telling you about, they're going to complete during the observation of the lesson. Okay. And what you need to submit here for task 19, you got, again, that task cover sheet, the observation consultation worksheet, you have the lesson plan, and that differentiated instruction 3 observation form. So quite a bit to task 19. So to me, if I have to say, I would say, task 6 and 19 do have quite a bit to them. Again, my opinion of it would be, if I was doing task 6, I might want to wait until we start back in January to kind of a fresh start for some of the students, or if I'm in secondary for elementary school, starting January 4th, or if I'm in secondary, wait till that second semester starts. Task 8, you just need to, if you've already started attending meetings and you've taken notes, hey, I would start working on task 8 if you've got some notes from that. But if not, just when you attend a grade level meeting or a department meeting, take notes. Make sure you mark down the date, who was in attendance, what did you talk about, and what is going to be implemented. Then for those next 2-3 meetings, because if you start this, let's say, again, if we're at the beginning of December, so theoretically, if you have a meeting in December, January, February, March, let's say, that hopefully you'll start seeing some results from whatever it is that you're implementing. Okay. And then task 19, I would try to get started as soon as you can on creating that lesson plan, and then making sure that you're getting with somebody, either your mentor teacher or another teacher within the school or administrator, and getting that observation done, so you can get these done as quickly as possible. I mean, it's a lot of stuff. Definitely. So that's kind of all I have to say about those 3 tasks. Now, again, I want to make sure I can answer anybody's questions for this evening, and I just want to reiterate, if I don't get to answer your question, please reach out to me. It's starek.shane@Brevard Schools. I'm at Jefferson Middle School. I'd love to help in any way I can. So I'll go ahead and open up the floor to any specific questions. Please hold on. Okay, let me see here. I'm so sorry. I didn't even see all this stuff back here. Okay. You had a survey at the beginning of the year. Just need to write up the task now. Okay. Yeah. All right. So, Patricia, so yes, and that's great too. I was going to say, for task 6, if you've given the surveys already at the beginning of the year, which, that's ideal. Ideally, we want to, these task 6 is kind of a beginning of the year survey that you want to give. So 98% completion, that's pretty good. To me, that's, if I was only had 50-60% of students completing it, I might feel like, all right, I want to try to get some more students to complete this, but that's pretty good, 98% complete. So if you had something you did at the beginning of the school year, you just want to make sure that it's 2 surveys. You've got one about their interests and one about their learning style. So if you've already done something like that at the beginning of the year, yeah, let's not do it again. Definitely. Let's use what you've got. Yeah. Okay. Thing is that you can use the surveys to make it fit your classroom. Can I put the surveys into Google Forms so I can complete the data and makes it easy to understand? Yeah, of course. Yes. For your surveys, please make it as easy as possible for your students to do, whatever level they're at, whatever your class that you're teaching, make it so that it's useful to you. Because my thinking is, if you're doing these tasks and it's not useful to you, then that's not really that's not really the point of this. We want to make sure that it's something that's going to help you, and hopefully give you some good ideas. Excellent. Okay. Okay, now would data team meetings apply to this? What helps us develop? Lowest try for 25%. Yes, absolutely. Yes. So for task 8, data team meetings, that's perfect. If you're doing those in MTSS meetings, I think, yeah, it's where you're getting some data about where those students are, and okay, what are we going to do to target this group of students that are really struggling? That's perfect. Okay. And again, it would kind of left task 8 kind of leaves it a little open-ended on how often you are to meet. I mean, they're saying monthly, but you might meet more than that. So I just want to, if you give 3 to 5 meetings to me is going to show how you're collecting that data, and okay, what are some changes we're making on the adults end to try to get better information. Yeah. Can grade level meeting? Yes. Yes. I mean, anything that is going to be using some sort of data that is helping student achievement in whatever way, that is fine with me. I think that's great. And so whatever you're already a part of, and you can document it using that moving forward, and it's going to be helpful to you, then that's great. So we don't include our 2 focus students from differentiated 2 on task 19. And no, it's supposed to be one whole class. That it's not those 2 students anymore, but I guess you're kind of using some of the same strategies and ideas about differentiating your learning in assessments. Now I'm taking it from those 2 students and expanding it to my whole class. Okay. All right. So what else can I help anyone with? I know some people had said they hadn't even started yet, so this might be kind of just a lot of information. Oh, yes.
Okay, sorry. I thought I'd raise my hand like we were in school.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
On task 8, I think I understand kind of the beginnings of it and the meetings we're supposed to attend and the data we get in the beginning. Do we have to provide a second round of data at the end of it to show that there was movement made in the direction that we were going? If we identified the problem, do we have to provide it? Or is it kind of like showing we're in process?
Yeah, in process is perfectly fine. A lot of students last year, I mean, it was because when we stopped being in person, it was basically went from January, February, March, and then that was kind of the end of the data collecting. But yes, it is all in progress. I just want to see that okay, you're identifying a problem with your group, and this is what we're going to do to try to change that. And yeah, maybe it's not going to be right. Maybe what your intervention isn't going to help. It's it doesn't have to necessarily that we want it to go in a positive way, obviously, but it's problem solving too. Things that don't always work out. I just want to see that you're going through that process, thinking about how you can improve student gains and improve the school environment, whatever it may be. So yes, if you have something, that's great. But if it's in progress, that's
okay.
That's the way things go. That's perfect.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. If I use a KWL, an All About Me survey at the beginning of the year, I would complete task 8 on the whole class. Also, I do have to. Okay. So using the surveys, that's in task 6, the surveys. I'm sorry if I'm getting confusing here. So task 6 is surveys. Task 8 is where you're attending meetings. Class 19 is where you're doing the observation. So yeah, so if you've got one that is, it's 2 separate surveys, and you're getting some information about their interests, and you're getting some information about best way they learn. Okay. Should you complete it as on the whole class? Yes. So if you're in an elementary school, then do it as your whole class, whatever that may be, or if you've got a homeroom class, however your school does it. But whoever your main group you have throughout the day. If you are a secondary teacher, then make sure do it just pick one block. You don't need to pick all 3 blocks that you teach. Okay. And do I have to include all about me and KWL chart with my submission? Yes, please. So you're going to just include a blank copy of both of those surveys. Okay, so you don't need to I don't want you uploading, you upload every survey that they completed. No, just one blank copy of one and one blank copy of the other. And then you're going through those implications, and that's where you are just going to say, hey, I saw 75% of my students really like to read, or 100% of my students love coming to school. That's awesome. That those kind of things where it's we want to know what stood out to you. I want to see. I don't want you to have to go through every single question by question and tell me the percentage and what that means. Just give an overview of 4 or 5 things that really stood out for you from each survey. Okay. Oh yeah, no problem at all. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I'm I'm being clear. Yeah. Okay. Indiana. I'm sorry, for task 9. Which task are you talking about? Do we have to stick with one learning objective?
Sorry, it's differentiated instruction too. I didn't know if Lisa was watching the chat as well.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not 100% sure on that one.
That's okay. I'll send an email.
Yeah, I'm sorry. No.
Hey, Shane, I have a question.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
Hey.
so for task 6, I teach kindergarten,
Right.
which is super primary. Does an All About Me survey completed by the parents at the beginning of the year, meet that requirement for one of them?
Yeah, that's that's okay. I mean, you could even ask them, hey, could you do it with your student, and just but you want to make sure that we get the best information for that student. But yeah, if they can do it with them, or they know their child, so that's I think that's appropriate. Yeah, that sounds good.
At least for one of them. I mean, I could do something whole group.
Right.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and that's what gets tricky with this, is we don't want to have to, we don't want to have to be sitting there doing one-on-one assessments for each, or surveys for each of the students. So whatever is going to be the best way.
No
you can
more
get the
assessments.
Yeah, right, exactly. This is just one more thing. Yeah, I agree. So
Okay.
whatever's going to get the information and get it quickly.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course. And let's see.
I know some of you haven't really started your portfolio tasks yet, so it's difficult to follow along and completely understand and grasp. But Shane is a great resource, and he's super quick to respond and give you that specific information that you need. So, right now, just getting a little familiar with it, looking through it, taking some notes is perfect. You can go back and rewatch this recording to get information. And again, like he has said, reach out to him.
Right. I really, please, let me know anything I can do, because exactly, if you're kind of just getting started with this, and you're just going, whoa, I got all these tasks I've got to do. I don't even know where to start. So I completely understand that, but I help anyone who needs it at any time. Absolutely. So,
Shane, have you looked at the rubric on the Blackboard site versus the rubric on the state site?
Yes. It's, you know,
Go ahead.
go ahead. Yeah.
I was just going to ask. I recommend that they stick with the state site and just use the Blackboard site to upload the documents as a Dropbox, because I feel like the state site is way more specific.
Oh, yes. The Blackboard site, it's a little strange, I think. So yes, I would use the alt certification website as far as for your rubric. It's a lot more straightforward. It's okay, 4, 3, 2, 1. You know what it is that you're going to be looking for a lot easier and quicker than on Blackboard. I agree, kind of strange.
Yeah. The other thing is that if you score, you can only score a 4 or 3 to be proficient in that task. If you score a 2 or a 1 in any sub area, you have to redo that component. Like, you cannot score a 2 or a 1 and pass that specific task. It has to be 4s or 3s on each area.
Well, I try to be an easy grader. All I can say is the times that I do send anything back is just for, like in task 6, I've had, a couple different times where people just do one survey. So just, make sure you're completing all portions of this. And again, if you ever have any questions about, I don't know exactly what I'm supposed to be turning in, I'd be glad to help. So, please don't hesitate to ask. But that's really the only things I've seen is just a lack of, turning in a part of it. Otherwise, I've seen some great submissions, so I'm sure that'll continue.
Vilma asked if it's okay to use a Teams meeting where we give each other support and suggestions for task 8.
Okay. So I would, and I would just ask, I guess, so it really wants to specify having some sort of goal, some sort of data, something that you're working towards. So that's be the only thing I would say. That's great as long as there's something that is okay, we're meeting and we're laying out this goal for the next time we meet, or we have this is a problem that's occurring within our school. How are we going to address that? So as long as you can, address those questions, that's perfectly fine. Whatever is going to be easiest for you. Absolutely.
And just a reminder, this is one of those meetings, if your questions have been answered and you don't have any more, you feel free to leave. You don't have to stick around. I know it's nighttime, we're all tired, and just wanted to make sure that the questions were asked. Yep, peace out. Somebody already left.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have that much to say. I'm just rambling after a while, so.
Awesome.
So I have a question. For task 8,
Yes.
if we are to meet as a team, for example, I teach activity at an elementary school.
Okay.
Do we have like obviously if it was a PBIS meeting, you would be talking about the whole school. Is there a specific data set that you're looking for? Like what specific group of students you're looking for task 8, or are we able to use just like a class from our activity rotation?
Right. That's, and again, that's perfect. You can look at whatever is most pressing for you. I want it to be something that is going to be relevant to you. So whether it's if there's a certain subset of students that if there's some sort of disciplinary issue, or whether it's something academic, if it's in PE class, I'm thinking maybe, I mean, even their physical fitness, you know, however you want to address that, that they're, you know,
Right. One
Yeah.
thing we see kind of consistently each year is because of Brevard's model, sixth graders tend to dwindle in engagement,
yes,
and there start to be some discipline problems, particularly when they're in activity,
yes,
because we don't give grades and they know it.
right.
And so that's something that we're always working on as a team. And so if that's something acceptable that I could work on.
Please. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Great.
exactly. Yeah, and your problem solving with your team. Hey, music
Always.
teacher or art teacher, or, you know, what's working for you, or, you know, talking to those sixth grade teachers, you know, whatever's going to work for you. That is okay. We've identified a problem. Here is my here's our intervention. This is what we're going to do, and then this resulted. Okay, there. For the month of December, there was this many disciplinary referrals. Then January, it starts. We want to see it start to go down once we have implemented that that intervention. You know, it doesn't need to be something. Okay, we've given this test. Just okay, we started doing this kind of positive behavior model, and it's creating a decrease in our disciplinary issues. However, you want to gauge that by
Yeah. So, well,
rural. Yeah.
that's my hesitation. I'm sorry to cut you off, but that's exactly where I'm stalled, is collecting data on that, because we actually, as an activity team, wrote we wrote one referral last year. And so that's not a data set that we would have. So I'm not really sure how we would document that, or how we would show that improvement, other than just by observation.
Becky,
Well-
do the sixth grade teachers there still use a checklist? Like they used to use a clipboard that rotated with the teachers or in the class?
What from
Sixth grade at Longleaf.
to the activity team teachers?
We used to carry a clipboard in the classroom and send it to it went everywhere with the students.
No. Maybe we need to reinstate that, Lisa.
Yeah. And I'm sure, you know, the
Well,
teachers there would be willing to do that, to track that data.
Okay. So the thing is, though, I just want to make sure this is okay. We have 3 sixth grades now, and only 2 of them are in person. So we would really only be tracking 2 classes. Is that going to be enough to meet these requirements?
Oh, right. I don't want you to have. You don't have to have some. If you want to just zero in on one class in particular, right? That's fine. If you've got, I'm just. What is specifically the problem that you're facing right now? Then.
Engagement,
Right.
staying focused, being off task, things like there's some freedom within the activity setting. And so being able to get up and walk around to even sharpen a pencil becomes social, or talking while instructions are being given because they're shoulder to shoulder in my room. We can't get any farther apart than that. So there's, you know, even if it's just a whisper, then they're missing things, you know, for instructional purposes. And so that becomes an issue later on with not knowing what you're doing, having to repeat instructions, or just, I have kids that will just sit and stare off into space unless I stand over them. So that's an icky place to be, you know?
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. Is some sort of I mean, is there any kind of as far as like a classroom model that is used in your school that something they're going to respond to, that
Yeah. So
some sort of reward system?
Yeah.
Or
well, we are a PBIS school, so we used to hand out like bucks, you know, to reward students for doing the right thing, which is a great incentive. But now we're paperless, and we can't do the incentive like stores and parties. So that has kind of gone away completely this year.
Right.
So I think Lisa's onto something. The accountability is the piece that they're missing. And so, you know, especially when you have, like, let's say you have a student that's been held back, no matter what grade it is, by the time they're in 6th grade, they're like 13, 14 years old with with kindergartners. So they see that stark difference and they kind of check out.
Right.
So it's that accountability piece where they know they're not getting a grade from us. And I think the clipboard rotating might be a good thing.
Yeah, just something that I was just talking with those 6th grade teachers, just something that can be devised, or you can piggyback onto some sort of behavior management that they use in class. Something that that way they're familiar with it, because that is got to be a real struggle for activity teachers in elementary. It's like, all right, I've got one expectation in class, and then I go to activity, and then I can kind of do whatever, and then I can come back and it's, didn't really affect me. So maybe kind of getting with them and teaming on something that you could use that they're familiar with.
Right.
Some
What if would we be able to use maybe like a point system that we tracked in our own rooms, so that we're not putting something else on their classroom teachers, to like another responsibility on them?
Right. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I mean, that's the other side of it too, is they're going to go, you're asking me to do something else.
Right. And I shy away from asking the rest of my team to do that, because I know how much we're doing in addition to the activity pieces, and in addition to the teaching pieces, that there's a lot of extracurricular stuff that falls on us. And so would I be able to do it just in my classroom and track my students, or is it something that the whole team needs to be participating in?
Well, I would try it just within your classroom. I'm just thinking, if it's becoming really disruptive, or it really needs to be addressed, then unfortunately, I think you're going to have to bring in other people. But if you want to try something within just in your class, I would try that first, and hopefully you don't have to go to another level of, all right, now I got to include other people, because
Perfect.
for whatever reason in this class, you guys aren't doing what you're supposed to do, and this is not acceptable. So I would try that. That'd be great.
Okay.
No.
Awesome. Thank you. Now I'm going to sign off. I'll stop.
No. Yes. Anytime, please.
Okay. Thanks so much. Have a good night, guys.
All right.
Bye.
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 Anyone else have questions? If not, I think we're good.
Yeah, Sarah, any questions you can think of, please. Again, I know it's, has a lot of information real quick. So please, anything you think of, please email me.
All right.
All right, then, everyone. Well, sounds good. And thank you. And just I'll hopefully be talking to you all very soon.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you,
Bye.
Shane. Thank you for doing all of that.
Oh, no, of course. That went very well. Yes, of course.
Yeah, and like I had mentioned, most of them have not really done many of the, most of the ones that were on tonight were new to PDCP, so they really haven't started any of the tasks yet.
Okay.
So even surfing the state site, you showing where the task information is, the rubric information, the different pieces was a great help.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, right. I mean, if you're completely brand new to it, it's all these tasks, and I don't even know where to start.
Exactly.
No.
Yep. All right. Well, you have a great evening, and thank you for doing that.
Of course, absolutely. All
All
right.
right. See you later. Bye.